All right, then let's do the Chargers.
Mm.
The darlings of the offseason. They might have the best quarterback in the NFL. I'd say maybe third right now, but you can make a case for him being the very best. And they did what they had to do, right? Which is something everyone's said ad nauseum now for years and years and years. You get the rookie quarterback, you get the quarterback on the rookie contract, excuse me, and you go and throw all of the money and assets on making everything around him so strong whilst he's on that market inefficiency deal. He is by far the top market inefficiency in the league. To have a like game breaking, truly elite, could be the very best in the league quarterback on a rookie scale deal is outrageous. And the big question mark will be, can Brandon Staley's defense finally rise to match what Justin Herbert can do basically on his own on offense?
Going back on the Colts a second, looking at the Chargers in week 18, I still can't believe that happened. Like how they didn't get in. Spoke to Tom Telesco last month and was really impressed on his outlook for this team, his opinion on Justin Herbert, and the way that he sees his team going forward. Like, for example, getting Jesse Jackson, 5 years, $80 million, Austin Johnson, Josh Harris, Troy Reader, Jared Everett. It's not just Herbert, but it's Staley's progression of this team. Their red zone scoring percentage rose by nearly 10 points last year. It's going to be intriguing to see how they upgrade this team. They've obviously got put the upgrades for the players, but it's now that sort of that evolution of Justin Herbert. Can he, make himself more of a leader in this team and even better himself to the standard at which he needs to be going into his next year in this league, because they do need to get over the line in certain games. If they go to Mile High, if they go to Arrowhead, can they get over the line? I felt last season watching them, especially when they were playing at home in SoFi, that there was times where you just, like, I love watching Justin Herbert, but there's times where you felt they just needed that next level. I think they're close. If it's almost a little bit like the Broncos, Ollie. If they can just find that way of getting around it and letting it all gel, they can really challenge for the West. There's no reason when you're bringing in guys like Calvin Noy, Bryce Callahan, where you can't challenge. So it's definitely a team that's going to be exciting to watch this season.
Yeah, the big thing for them last year, I mean, one, they had this weird mid-season, like midlife crisis where they didn't know what they wanted to do on offense. They made it really constricted. It's like, hey guys, that guy's Justin Herbert. Could we maybe let him throw the ball down the field every once in a while? He's really, really special. But the right side of their line was a sinkhole, right? So it's just like that they were panicked about him taking a giant shot because Storm Norton was terrible, basically. The big thing is the defense. I mean, obviously last year, the worst run defense in the league, essentially. I was looking at some numbers today where, they have this light box theory that I know we've discussed on here a lot, where they purposely lighten the box so that they ask you to, they invite you to run the ball. And the way you set up the light box, you just kind of torpedo the middle of the line of scrimmage and you make the ball roll off the table. And then everyone from the second and third level rallies to the ball is essentially the theory. You invite the run to shut down the run. That theory works when you have Aaron Donald and all the guys Brandon Staley had with the Rams. That theory is not as good when those guys aren't your team. Now, he went out and got Joseph Day, who was the anchor of that defense when he was in LA. They obviously signed Khalil Mack. They've tried to make upgrades there. And what's different now is, they were in even contest last year with this massive, massive issue up front. Whereas this season, I imagine they'll be more ahead in games, and they've built a defense now to play ahead, which is having Bosa and Mack obviously rush the passer. Bringing in Jackson allows them to be a lot more malleable in the coverage department. What Staley did last season was, and what Staley's done throughout his career, is pick one thing week to week and lean all the way into it. I remember Coach Vass, I did an interview with him for this podcast, where they ran one coverage against the Chiefs last season 19 times in a row. You do not see that in the NFL. It's basically, we think this is the plan, we're going to do it all the time. That's what Brandon Staley does. He doesn't run a lot of different things within a single game. Adding Jackson to what they typically do will give him just a wider coverage menu, where there are times when you have to adjust in a game and say, okay, our plan's not working. So I just like what they've done in terms of pairing Justin Herbert with a specific style of defense. And then obviously they've done good work trying to get other pieces around him on offense too. So like they should be right now, and for the entirety of Justin Herbert's career, essentially in championship or failure type mode. And I know it's a lot of pressure to put on a team and a third-year guy, but they're that good. There's no reason why they shouldn't be going into the season expecting to win the whole thing. There's nothing there that's overtly missing, unless JC Jackson becomes terrible outside of New England, which is unlikely. So it's pressure, and I know they're the preseason darlings and the offseason darlings, and those teams usually end up coming up well short. And this team could still come up short because you've got to play in the playoffs to know what it's like to play in the playoffs, right? That's a typical thing. Is you do like the Rams did, you get in, you lose, you get to the Super Bowl, you lose, and then you finally punch through. But they should be in the mindset of not being like one of these teams where they could have like a Cinderella run. It's that they should be expecting, I think, to win it all.
Yeah, that's the expectations, that win the West and go and win it all. It goes through LA as far as they're concerned. The thing about their run game now is more diverse. They've got better linebackers, better corners, and you've mentioned the players that they've brought in. It's there for them. It's really about, as sort of what I said there, can Herbert take it to the next level? And it makes me wonder again, why the hell did Russell Wilson come into the AFC West when you've got this situation in LA?
Is a mad
Kansas
one.
City and Vegas.
And I know that the Broncos claim they never spoke to Aaron Rodgers. I'm not having that. I get that the claim would be we never spoke to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' intermediaries, I'm sure, let teams know who he would maybe be interested in moving when he was having his mopathon for the last 24 months. I imagine he sat there and looked and said, there's no way I'm going into that thing. And I hear all back. Clancy was big on this one about how great athletes don't think like that. You're thinking like a writer and not like a great athlete. I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers was thinking like, yeah, mate, that seems really hard when I get to just hammer the Bears and Lions 4 times a year for the next 3 seasons, basically.